It dawns on me that the build-up is now over. This is going to be the last video featuring the Star Wars curtain cape for a little while. But if this is to be the beginning of a hiatus, we're going to celebrate it with spoilers! Dun, 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 Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Spoiler talk. Yeah, that's a fair warning right there. This is spoiler talk for Star Wars The Force Awakens. If you have not seen Star Wars The Force Awakens yet, it's okay. I have a spoiler-free review. You can check that out. Don't watch this. In fact, don't read comment sections either. All right, warning's over. Now we're going to talk about some Star Wars The Force Awakens spoilers, because I saw the movie for a second time last night, and I loved it even more. So Star Wars The Force Awakens starts out, the opening crawl literally says, Luke Skywalker is missing. I was like, what? Wait a minute. Could it be he maybe is Kylo Ren? Kind of coincidental that Luke Skywalker disappears and then Kylo Ren steps onto the scene. That's not the case, though. You'll find that out later. But this movie started out how I wanted it to start out. It was just, there was a little bit of dialogue, and Poe gets that thing from Max von Sydow, and then boom, here comes the First Order with Kylo Ren. I love that scene when Poe has the gun, he shoots Kylo Ren's just like, bam, just stops that bolt just mid-air. That's what I loved about the Force in this movie. They used the Force in familiar ways, but just updated it. Like when Kylo Ren freezes Rey in her place, it's like this weird unnatural, she just goes, bah! And she's just like frozen right there. And you see like she's shaking. I was like, that looks like she was stopped with the Force. But this is the beginning of all the familiar stuff. Like right out the gate, the little droid, the BB-8 droid has a bit of information the baddies need. So they need to get the droid to the Resistance. I was like, Star Wars, the original. But did you see that laser bullet get stopped in midair? Because that was rad. And one of the things I loved was Poe and Finn. Poe and Finn just naturally gravitated towards each other. They just felt like best friends right out the gate. Finn doesn't want to be a part of the First Order. He needs a pilot to get out of there. Poe's a captive. He happens to be the best pilot in the Resistance, and you really do feel that. Like that one tracking shot where it just shows Poe wiping out all those TIE fighters. You're like, they say this guy's the best pilot, but he is just the best pilot. I love it when a movie says something about a character and then you clearly see it. You're like, yeah, no one's disputing that. But they're in the cockpit and he's like, good to meet you, Poe. Good to meet you too, Finn. After I saw the movie the second time, I was telling my friends, I was like, in 4 minutes, they established this brotherhood of friendship between these two characters. The prequels couldn't do that in 6 hours. Their friendship was just done really well, and I'm looking forward to seeing that friendship grow in the next movies. Then we meet up with Rey, and Rey's a scavenger. She meets up with Finn, and then they get off of Jakku. On the Millennium Falcon, like when she was like, that ship's garbage. I was like, I think I know what ship you're talking about. And don't call it garbage. But it was when the gun on the Millennium Falcon locked and she flipped it around and then they wasted the TIE fighter and they were like, how'd you do that? She was like, I don't know. I don't know how I did it. I was like, are they both Jedi in this movie? And she starts getting visions. She touches the lightsaber, sees the whole backstory of Kylo Ren. And I was like, wait a minute. There has been nothing in this movie to show that Finn is in tune with the Force at all. Oh my gosh. Our girl here's actually going to be the Jedi. Finn, while a badass shot with a blaster, he's not in tune with the Force. Now let's talk about Kylo Ren for a second. Now, before the movie came out, everyone was like, Kylo Ren. Some people speculated that he's this huge badass Sith Lord here to take charge and do what Vader wouldn't. Then you find out in a pretty on-the-nose way, the leader of the First Order, this guy named Snoke, talks to Kylo Ren via hologram. When I first saw him, I was kind of disappointed. He looked like a big 50-foot tall monster, but since it's a hologram, I imagine he's more along the lines of normal size. But he tells Kylo Ren, he's like, your father Han Solo's with them, so don't get pulled to the light side. And we know nothing about Snoke. We don't know where he comes from. We don't know who he is. We don't know how he seduced Ben Solo to the dark side. We just don't know anything about it. Andy Serkis says this dude is old. He's like, this guy's old. Like, he has seen some shit. Old. We're talking he probably hung out with Yoda. He does have a history on his face. I love the fact you just look at this dude's face, you're like, you have a huge scar going that way? And a scar going that way, or however it is. There's a story on your face, buddy, and you pissed someone off. And that someone had a lightsaber. But the scene where Kylo Ren has Rey and then takes off his helmet, and I was like, at first, I was disappointed, because I thought this dude was going to be awesome. Maybe he was going to have, like, scars, fucked up face, but he didn't. He just looked like a guy. Not just a guy, he didn't look like a menacing guy. He looked like an average guy. And that did disappoint me at first, but then, as you start marinating on it, and as the movie goes on, and Adam Driver does a great job as Kylo Ren without the mask, I was like, no, I like that. This dude is what I wanted to see with Anakin Skywalker, but never saw. That's right, he's Anakin 2.0 of sorts. I mean, looking at the Anakin parallel, it really is the same thing. His Jedi Master trained him, he turned bad, he wiped out all the other Jedi, his Jedi Master goes into hiding, and he's one of the hammer fists of the galactic assholes trying to just ruin everything for everybody. Then this new apprentice will come along and be trained by the Master who trained the guy who turned bad so the wrong can be righted. But I love that we see through his shit in this movie. I mean, alright, look at Kylo Ren's world for him and the people around him. He's the only space wizard out there. He's taken out all the competition. Luke Skywalker has gone into hiding. So he has this big scary lightsaber. Everyone in the First Order is like, oh, don't piss him off. He's gonna rage out on his computer. Everyone takes that at face value, and he really hasn't had anyone oppose him because he is the only space wizard out there. So then Rey comes along, and you see that she is actually in tune with the Force, and when he's like reading her mind, she starts fighting back with him, and he's just like, oh shit, what is this? This is the first time he's felt this in quite some time. Probably the first time he has ever felt it as he has been Kylo Ren. She's like, you're just scared you're not gonna live up to Darth Vader, and he just snaps back, and he's like, he like takes a breather. And you see right there, it's like, yeah, the disappointment with Kylo Ren for a lot of people was that he wasn't this big menacing guy. I mean, he was at the beginning, but by the end, he was just an average dude. But he was always an average dude. He was just peacocking the entire time. He was just puffing his chest like, I'm so rad. And it was just all a bluff. He's actually not as badass as he made people around him think he is. But as for his fall with Anakin Skywalker, there was no family dynamic with him. I mean, there was the master-apprentice dynamic, but you still have that with Luke Skywalker, and you clearly see that Luke Skywalker is ashamed. And that's also what I liked about it. With Obi-Wan Kenobi hiding, you kind of got the feeling he was looking after Luke Skywalker. Yoda in the prequels just said, he's like, I'm going to go into exile. I have failed. But the emotional impact was, I just kind of felt like, was that a Jedi thing? Do you just go into hiding because? But with Luke Skywalker, I felt like he went into hiding because he was ashamed. He could not look his friends in the eyes with that feeling of, yeah, I failed you all, I failed your son, and I ripped your family apart. I can't look at you. And that was just a bit more sad for me. Also with the family dynamic, Anakin Skywalker, there were no parents to see their son go to the dark side. I mean, he had no father, and then his mother died while he was rescuing her. But in this movie, you saw that the Solos had to deal with the fact that their son became a murderous asshole. That impacted them in very strong and powerful ways. And you see that Kylo Ren's a bit of a religious nut. Somehow he's been convinced that the burned up Darth Vader helmet is some relic that brings him closer to his grandfather. But it's just a burned mask. Like, this dude prays to this thing, and he's losing his mind, and it's doing nothing for him. It's just an artifact. You get the feeling Snoke's like, no, totally, your grandfather would have wanted this, and he was a great person, and yeah, you should pray to his burned up mask. And with Kylo Ren, you feel like he's in the larval stage. You see, Darth Vader had been an asshole for about 20 years by the time we really saw him in the original Star Wars. Kylo Ren has been an asshole for an undisclosed amount of time, but you get the feeling it's not a long time. So we've only begun to see what Kylo Ren can do. I think in the next movie, he's going to be much more badass, and the next one, much more hard. I mean, he's just going to progress. This is the tip of the iceberg for him. And that's another thing, like with the characters that kind of disappointed me. I was like, oh, I didn't see a lot of Poe, and I didn't see anything of Captain Phasma. I couldn't say in my spoiler-free review, it was like, oh, we're going to see them in the sequels, because if I say that, then you know they lived through this movie. But yeah, all those characters, Phasma, Poe, Kylo Ren, they carried over, and I love that too. I love the fact that they didn't just go through baddies in this movie knowing that they're going to have new baddies in the next one. I was like, no, the baddies in this saga are going to carry into the next movies, because that's how it should go. You shouldn't just change out your bad guys for the sake of making action figures. Keep the bad guys around for the entire trilogy, man. It just makes it more interesting. Then the biggest tragedy in the entire thing, this was this was my least favorite thing in the entire movie, but that's just because it's a personal thing with me. It has nothing to do with the construction of this movie. But oh my god, the Han Solo scene. He goes and confronts his son Ben, and right when he was, I was like, Han Solo is going to die. This is bullshit. Sure enough, he talks with him. It's great conversation. And I also love that Leia's like, I don't want to forget him. I want him back. So can you please go talk to him? And she ultimately sends Han Solo to his death. I get that Harrison Ford didn't want to do another one, so it's just, you might as well kill him off for the sake of story. But what made it more tragic is after Kylo Ren takes his lightsaber and thrusts it through his father, it was Chewbacca's scream that really made it tragic for me. The way Chewbacca reacted to this, I really felt like Chewbacca saw his best friend or brother get murdered right in front of him. And it freaked me out. It was just too real. And then even when Han Solo's falling, he grazes Ben Solo's face, because he's still his boy. And then you're like, okay, Kylo Ren, you're just you're a dick now. And then the lightsaber fight comes, and he's always like, he's beating his chest and shit, because like Chewie shot him, and so he's bleeding. And he keeps pounding his sides to get the pain going, to get the anger going, to fuel him, because that's how dark side people think. And Finn's fighting him, because you knew Finn was going to fight him. and Finn gets his ass kicked ultimately. And like I said in my spoiler-free review, what I love about this fight is that it's not choreographed, it's not super flashy, it's really dirty. I mean, trees are getting slashed around him. It's just this fighting for survival. I mean, Finn gets socked, sliced up his spine. I thought he was dead, but he's not dead. He's in the medical bay, so he's probably gonna have some prosthetic spine in the next movie, because that was bad news. He took a solid hit. And the lightsaber's in the snow. This is the oh shit moment. In my review, I was like, there was a moment where I welled up and I was like, that is amazing. It's this scene right here. Kylo Ren's using the Force, getting the lightsaber, it's going to him. He's like, come on, and then it snaps out of the snow, goes right past his head, and then Rey just goes BAM! And catches it in the air, and I was like, oh, I'm pre-ordering your hot toy right now, Rey. And then the Force theme swells up, she busts out that lightsaber blade, and those two go at it. In their lightsaber fight, they clash, and he's like, you need a teacher, I can show you the ways of the Force, and she's like, the Force. And then she quiets her mind, and then the swelling of the music, and she calms herself, and then she's just ready to go, and she bests him. She beats him. I believe she cut off a limb. When I first saw it, I was like, I'm pretty sure he lost a hand, but I saw it the second time, I was like, but he just kind of sliced and plops on the ground. I know he has a sweet scar down his face, which again, this made sense to me. I mean, some people were like, I can't believe this girl who's never held a lightsaber in her life beat the guy who did, but think about it, Kylo Ren is extremely out of practice. He has not gone up against anyone with a lightsaber since he ultimately turned bad. In the meantime, he's just kind of intimidating everybody, cutting down old guys, and raging out on his MacBook computer screen when he gets really pissed. He has had no practice. He has had no competition. He has had no one to actually have a lightsaber fight with. So this dude is rusty. And when this girl kind of gets in tune with the Force, which does give her an edge that Finn didn't have because he's not in tune with the Force, and then she beats the shit out of him. You get the feeling Snoke, when he turned into the dark side, didn't train him with a lightsaber or anything like that. Didn't train him to be better. He's like, all right, now you're bad. All right, go do that stuff that you need to do, and whatever, you'll be efficient for now, and then I'm probably going to discard you when I'm done with you. So this girl beats him, and Snoke's like, bring Kylo Ren to me, it's time to complete his training. Again, with the next movie, he's gonna be more badass than he was in this movie. And then Rey goes off, she has the map, she finds Luke Skywalker on this little island, supposedly it's the first Jedi temple, which also is funny. When I saw this the second time, I noticed it. When Kylo Ren was reading her mind when he had her captive, he was like, I see it. The island with the ocean. And then at the end of the movie, she goes to an island in the middle of an ocean, which almost implies, like, has she been there before? Was she just seeing the future because she saw a part of the map? I don't know. Again, this movie is really open to interpretation, but when she found Luke Skywalker, she held out the lightsaber. I thought Luke was gonna walk over to her and be like, the Force is strong in my family. My father has it. I have it. My sister has it. You have that power too. Oh, family, it's his daughter. Biggest theory about that right now is that she is Luke Skywalker's daughter, but I don't know why Luke would have dropped her off on Jakku. Because we don't really know when Kylo Ren turned bad. It's like, what's the chronology of events? How old is Kylo Ren to Rey? Which again, I'm bringing in new characters. I think the next movie would be a great time to bring in Lando Calrissian. Lando can come in and be like, my best friend was murdered. I'm going to avenge him. I'm going to kill the one who killed my friend. But does he avenge his friend by killing his son? Or does he honor his friend by trying to bring his son back to the good side? Which I know, it's like, if his father couldn't do it, how in the hell can Lando do it? Yeah, I know. I'm just spitballing here, man. Guys, in the end, Star Wars The Force Awakens was a great movie when I first saw it, and it was an even better movie the second time I saw it. It's a great character movie. It's a great family tragedy. It's a great space opera. And Star Wars is back. And I'm super glad I'm just here to see that. All right, so again, The Force Awakens. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Spoilers in the comments section. Go nuts. You have the green light to do so. But as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.